Good morning anger is an emotion most people tell you to avoid. They say stay calm, keep the peace, but let me tell you, sometimes you need to be angry. Not just any anger, but a righteous anger, a burning fire deep within that fuels you to stand up, rise up, and do what must be done to succeed. This isn't about rage. It's not about lashing out or losing control. This is about being so fed up with mediocrity that you refuse to settle for less than your best. This is the kind of anger that pushes you forward, the kind that forces you to break free from limitations, whether they are self-imposed or put upon you by others. It's the kind of anger that gets you up in the morning, that sharpens your focus, that fuels your determination. Every great leader, every person who's ever achieved something remarkable has had a moment where they were angry enough to make a change, angry enough to refuse failure, angry enough to take action. Think of it as an alarm clock that jolts you awake, saying enough is enough, no more excuses, no more delays, it's time to get moving. Excuses are comfortable, they keep us in familiar territory. But the truth is, they are also the chains that hold us back. Be angry at every excuse you've allowed to limit you. Be angry at every I can't you've told yourself. Be angry at every maybe tomorrow that's kept you from the life you deserve. Excuses will rob you of your potential if you let them. That anger, that fire is there to burn every excuse down so you can rise from the ashes of your own limitations. Sometimes it's not the big things that hold us back, but the little patterns, the daily habits that go unnoticed. The truth is, we get comfortable in these patterns, and over time, they become chains. We need to get angry enough to shake ourselves free. Anger here becomes a force of change, challenging us to step out of what's familiar and comfortable. Anger, when harnessed, can break these old habits and open a door to new possibilities. Wasted potential is a tragedy. Every day you let pass without developing your gifts, you're allowing something valuable to go to waste. You must be angry enough to say, I will not let this potential go unused. The world is filled with people who have talent but never rise, who have dreams but never reach them. Don't be one of them. Let that anger drive you to develop your skills, to push yourself further than you thought you could go. Harness it as a reminder that you are here for a purpose, and that purpose demands action. Demand more from yourself. Set higher standards. Refuse to lower your expectations to match the limitations around you. Instead, raise your expectations and let your surroundings adjust. Success is a journey that requires determination and discipline, and sometimes anger is the fuel that keeps the engine running when nothing else will. So get angry enough to demand the very best from yourself, and don't settle for anything less. Starting is easy, but finishing is hard. When obstacles show up, when the journey gets tough, you need something to drive you forward. Let your anger at the idea of quitting keep you going. Let your anger at the thought of good enough push you until you reach the end. Let that fire burn bright until you've crossed the finish line. Remember, it's not just about achieving success for the sake of achievement. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Success is a reflection of growth, resilience, and purpose. When you're driven by righteous anger, it's not about being destructive, it's about being unstoppable. So be angry enough to rise above every setback. Be angry enough to break free from every limitation. Be angry enough to build a life you're proud of. Take that anger, harness it, and let it push you toward the greatness that's waiting. Anger is a powerful force. It's a signal that something is wrong, that something within us needs to be addressed, challenged, or changed. But in our daily lives, it's easy to channel this anger toward the wrong things, or worse, ignore it altogether. When you're truly honest with yourself, though, the anger that matters most is often anger directed at the very things that have held you back. Among these is a silent, persistent enemy: excuses. Excuses are easy, subtle, and often sound logical. They shield us from discomfort and protect us from the immediate sting of failure. But make no mistake, excuses are not our friends. They are the smooth-talking thieves of progress, quietly stealing our potential moment by moment, inch by inch. When you make excuses, you allow something inside you to settle, to sit back, and to accept less than your best. Excuses often seem harmless. They come wrapped in words of justification, sometimes even dressed up as reasons. I'm too tired today. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when I feel more confident. But look closely. Every excuse you make is a wall you build between yourself and your goals, a roadblock on the path to success. This is where anger becomes valuable. When you begin to feel anger at your own excuses, you start to dismantle that wall brick by brick, tearing down what's holding you back from stepping fully into your purpose. Think about this: how many dreams, aspirations, and ambitions have been lost to excuses? How many times have you held yourself back? Not because you couldn't do something, but because you told yourself a story about why it wasn't the right time or why it was too difficult. Excuses are dangerous because they feel so reasonable. They make us comfortable with waiting, with staying in place, with choosing tomorrow over today. But anger at these excuses is a transformative force. When you truly see excuses for what they are, limitations you've chosen rather than limitations that exist, you unlock a new level of accountability. You see, excuses don't just keep you from progress, they keep you from facing the reality of who you are and what you're capable of. They allow you to remain in a comfortable but confined space where growth is limited, where potential is stifled. Many people think of excuses as harmless, temporary solutions to life's difficulties. But excuses have a cumulative effect. They build up over time, each one adding weight, making the path forward seem more daunting. One day of "I'll do it tomorrow" becomes a week, then a month, then a year, until the habit of excuse making has buried the original goal under layers of inaction and delay. When you allow excuses to dominate, you create a habit, a mindset that reinforces procrastination and complacency. And this is why anger is necessary. Anger shakes things up. It refuses to let you sit back comfortably with your own limitations. It forces you to see the truth that the only real limitations are the ones you create in your mind. And that anger, that frustration is what begins to fuel change. Imagine looking back on your life and seeing a series of missed opportunities, times when you could have acted but didn't, all because excuses stood in the way. Now imagine the anger that might come from realizing that the only thing keeping you from success, from growth, was a collection of convenient justifications. This is where the transformation begins. When you get angry enough at these excuses, you start to view them not as comforting reasons, but as obstacles, things you must overcome, destroy to move forward. Anger becomes a tool for clarity, helping you see what truly matters and giving you the energy to act. Without that anger, excuses will continue to look like perfectly logical responses to life's challenges. Consider the language of excuses. They're words that encourage passivity. I can't, because maybe later, if only I had. Each excuse is a retreat, a step back. Every time you use one, you're letting yourself off the hook. But anger says enough. It demands that you step forward, that you stop hiding behind words and start acting on them instead. When you feel anger towards your own excuses, you're no longer willing to let yourself off the hook. You're no longer satisfied with saying, "I'll get to it someday." That anger is a wake-up call telling you that the time for excuses is over and that the time for action is now. This isn't about being unkind to yourself or harsh for no reason. It's about recognizing the need for urgency. Excuses lull you into thinking that time is abundant, that opportunity will always be there. But the reality is that life moves quickly. Moments of possibility come and go, and often they don't wait for you to feel ready. If you're constantly making excuses, you risk missing out on what could have been life-changing moments. Anger at your excuses helps you see that time is a resource you can't afford to waste. It drives home the point that now is the time to act, not tomorrow, not next year, but right here, right now. People often get caught up in waiting for the perfect conditions to pursue their dreams. They tell themselves, "When I have more money, when I have more time, or when I'm more experienced." But here's the truth: there will never be a perfect time. Life is full of challenges, uncertainties, and variables you can't control. If you're always waiting for the ideal circumstances, you'll never start. And that's exactly what excuses want you to believe, that it's better to wait, to hold back, to play it safe. Anger at these lies is what propels you to begin despite the imperfections. It's the spark that ignites the fire of resilience and pushes you to start where you are with what you have. The road to success is not smooth. It's filled with obstacles, and those obstacles often provide the perfect excuse to turn back, to settle, to give up. But if you're angry enough, you won't allow those excuses to dictate your journey. You'll refuse to let the challenges stop you. Instead, you'll view them as opportunities to grow, to adapt, to prove that your determination is stronger than any setback. That anger acts as a fuel, giving you the resilience to keep going when things get tough, to find solutions instead of reasons to quit. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop accepting excuses and start feeling angry at them. That anger leads to discipline. It becomes the foundation upon which you build habits of persistence, of courage, of follow through. It helps you develop a mindset that says, "I don't care how hard it is, I'm going to make it happen." You become someone who is not interested in justifications but in results. Someone who doesn't stop at reasons why not, but who pushes forward, driven by a purpose that excuses can no longer touch. When you channel your anger at excuses, you begin to hold yourself accountable in a way that's empowering. You start to take full responsibility for your progress, for your success, and for your setbacks. Excuses become unacceptable, intolerable. You start to view them as obstacles to be conquered, not as comforts to lean on. You become relentless in your pursuit of growth, unwilling to settle for less, because you know what's possible when you stop letting excuses dictate your actions. This is not an easy path. Excuses are seductive. They offer safety, a way out, a justification for staying in place. But anger at your excuses strips away that illusion of safety. It reveals that true security, true success comes only when you're willing to step beyond the boundaries that excuses have set for you. When you're angry enough, you don't let fear of failure or discomfort keep you from moving forward. You become determined to take action, regardless of the challenges, because you know that the alternative, staying stuck, settling, is simply not acceptable. That anger, when properly harnessed, is the energy that moves you from talking to doing, from wishing to working. It gives you the strength to persevere, to keep going even when things seem difficult, to look at every challenge as an opportunity to prove that you're stronger than your excuses. And in the end, it's that anger that turns into passion, into purpose, into a driving force that helps you achieve what once seemed impossible. So let that anger at your excuses grow. Let it push you. Let it remind you that you are capable of far more than you may have thought. Use that fire to break free from the limitations you've allowed and step into the success that is waiting for you. Anger is an underestimated force when it comes to breaking free from old, restrictive patterns. Many people view anger as a destructive emotion, something to avoid, a signal of losing control. But when harnessed and channeled with purpose, anger becomes a powerful motivator for change. It has the capacity to awaken you to the reality of your habits, to force you to confront the routines that you may not even be aware are holding you back. The truth is, patterns are comfortable and they can lull you into a false sense of security and accomplishment. They make you feel as if you're doing something, when in reality, you may just be running in place, not getting any closer to your goals. This is where anger comes in. It forces you to wake up, to recognize the futility of repeating the same behaviors and expecting different results. Consider how habits form in the first place. They start small, often as a way to cope with life's demands. Perhaps you started a particular routine or behavior because it once served a purpose, helping you navigate a specific situation or solve a temporary problem. Over time, however, that behavior becomes ingrained, and what once served you begins to limit you. But because it's comfortable, you stay with it. You stay within that pattern because breaking free feels too uncertain or too challenging. This is where many people get stuck, and it's exactly where anger can become a transformative force. When you're angry enough at the stagnation, at the limitation imposed by those old patterns, you find the strength to disrupt them. Anger gives you the energy to look honestly at these routines and see them for what they are: barriers to your growth, chains holding you back from reaching your full potential. Patterns provide a sense of order, a rhythm to life, but not all rhythms lead to progress. Some simply reinforce mediocrity and complacency. And if you're serious about making changes in your life, there comes a time when you must get angry enough to shatter these patterns, to be unafraid of disrupting the routines that keep you comfortable but stagnant. Often the comfort zone is built on a foundation of old habits, things you do without thinking, actions and reactions that no longer require conscious thought. But comfort and growth cannot coexist. If you want to grow, you have to be willing to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to be willing to step out of those patterns, even if they've been with you for years. This is where anger acts as a catalyst and gives you the courage to face the discomfort of change, to disrupt the status quo, and to force yourself into new, unfamiliar territory. Old patterns don't just shape what you do, they shape who you are. They influence how you see yourself, what you believe you're capable of, and how you interact with the world. For example, if you have a pattern of procrastinating on important tasks, it's not just a habit, it becomes a part of your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who always puts things off, someone who isn't disciplined or reliable. Over time, this self-perception limits you, making it harder and harder to break free from that cycle. You may start to believe that change is impossible, that this is just who you are, but when you get angry enough, you stop accepting these limitations. You stop allowing these old patterns to define you. Anger disrupts that complacency. It reminds you that you are not bound by these habits, that you have the power to choose differently. It forces you to confront the truth that you are capable of more, and that the only thing standing in your way is your attachment to these old patterns. Breaking old patterns isn't easy, especially when they've been a part of your life for a long time. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and a willingness to endure the discomfort that comes with change. But without anger, without that spark of frustration and determination, it's all too easy to slip back into familiar routines. Anger gives you the momentum you need to keep pushing forward, to resist the pull of the familiar. It helps you stay committed to the process of change, even when it feels uncomfortable or challenging. When you're angry enough, you don't allow yourself to make excuses. You don't let yourself slip back into old habits. Instead, you use that anger to propel yourself forward, to keep moving toward the person you want to become. One of the biggest obstacles to breaking old patterns is the fear of failure. Many people stay in their comfort zones not because they're truly happy there, but because they're afraid of what will happen if they try to change and fail. They're afraid of the discomfort, the potential embarrassment, or the uncertainty that comes with stepping into something new. But when you're angry enough, that fear starts to fade. Anger gives you the courage to face failure, to see it as a learning opportunity rather than something to be avoided at all costs. It helps you understand that failure is simply part of the process, a stepping stone on the path to success. When you're angry enough at the thought of staying the same, at the thought of letting old patterns continue to hold you back, you stop worrying about failure. Instead, you focus on what you stand to gain, on the progress you can make if you're willing to take the risk. Another challenge in breaking old patterns is the opinions and expectations of others. People around you often become accustomed to the version of yourself that you present through your routines and habits. They may have certain expectations based on who they believe you are, based on the patterns they've seen you follow for years. This can create pressure to maintain the status quo, to continue acting in ways that align with their expectations rather than your own potential. But anger can help you push past this external pressure. When you're angry enough, you stop worrying about what others think or expect. You stop allowing their opinions to dictate your actions. Instead, you become focused on your own growth, your own goals, and your own journey. Anger gives you the strength to prioritize yourself, to put your own needs and aspirations above the expectations of others. There's a certain clarity that comes with anger. When you're truly angry, you see things in a different light. You stop tolerating the things that no longer serve you, and you start recognizing the changes that need to be made. Anger cuts through the noise, helping you focus on what really matters. It strips away the justifications and rationalizations that keep you stuck in old patterns. You no longer accept excuses from yourself, and you become less tolerant of the distractions that have been holding you back. In this way, anger becomes a tool for clarity, helping you see your patterns for what they are: barriers to your growth, chains holding you back from reaching your full potential. But anger alone isn't enough. It's the starting point, the spark that ignites the desire for change. To truly break old patterns, you need to channel that anger into action. You need to take deliberate, consistent steps toward change, even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable. Anger gives you the energy to start, but it's discipline and commitment that will keep you going. When you're angry enough, though, you're willing to put in the work. You're willing to face the challenges head on, to push through the resistance, because you know that the alternative, staying the same, is simply unacceptable. That anger becomes a reminder of why you started, a source of motivation that keeps you moving forward even when things get tough. Ultimately, breaking old patterns is about transformation. It's about becoming the person you're meant to be, not the person you've settled for. And transformation is rarely a comfortable process. It requires you to confront parts of yourself that you may not like, to face truths that you may have been avoiding. But when you're angry enough, you stop avoiding, you stop running from these truths, and instead face them head on. You acknowledge the areas where you've been holding yourself back, and you commit to doing whatever it takes to change. Anger fuels this commitment, helping you stay focused on your goals even when the path forward is challenging. Anger at old patterns is a powerful force because it comes from a place of self-respect. When you're angry enough, it's because you know that you deserve more, that you're capable of more, and that you're no longer willing to settle for less. It's a form of self-respect that refuses to tolerate mediocrity, that demands excellence and growth. This anger isn't about negativity, it's about empowerment. It's about recognizing your worth, your potential, and your ability to create a better life for yourself. When you're angry enough, you start to see change not as a burden, but as an opportunity, a chance to become the person you've always known you could be. And with that perspective, with that sense of purpose, you're able to break free from old patterns and step fully into your potential. There is a unique kind of anger that arises when we confront the vast gulf between who we are and who we know we could be. It's a deep, simmering frustration at wasted potential, at the realization that we are capable of so much more, yet somehow we keep falling short. This anger isn't about rage toward others or toward external circumstances. It's a deeply personal dissatisfaction, a fire that burns within when we look at ourselves and recognize the possibilities that lie dormant, unexplored, and unfulfilled. To feel this anger is to feel the sting of knowing that you have talents, strengths, and abilities that you haven't fully tapped into, that there is more within you waiting to be unleashed. This kind of anger, though uncomfortable, is essential. It is the wake-up call we all need to shake us out of complacency, to force us to confront the reality that we are not yet the best versions of ourselves, and to drive us to finally do something about it. It's easy to ignore this anger, to suppress it, and convince yourself that you're doing just fine, that there's no need to push yourself any harder. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away, it only makes it stronger. The more you ignore the call of your potential, the louder that anger becomes. It's like a fire that smolders beneath the surface, waiting for the slightest spark to ignite it. And when it finally does, it has the power to transform you. This anger at wasted potential is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. It's a reminder that you are capable of more, that you are meant for more, and that the only person who can make that potential a reality is you. When you allow yourself to feel this anger, to truly confront the ways in which you have been holding yourself back, you tap into a well of motivation and energy that can propel you forward like nothing else. This anger is not about negativity, it's about self-respect. It's about recognizing that you deserve more than a life of mediocrity, that you are worthy of greatness, and that you have a responsibility to yourself to pursue it. When you feel this anger, you begin to understand that wasting your potential is a form of betrayal of yourself, of your dreams, and of the unique gifts you have to offer the world. This anger demands that you stop settling for good enough and start striving for excellence. It demands that you stop making excuses, stop letting fear control you, and start taking bold, decisive action toward the life you know you're capable of living. It's a call to rise above complacency, to refuse to be limited by your own self-imposed boundaries, and to become the person you were always meant to be. But potential, by its very nature, requires effort. It requires commitment, discipline, and an unwavering belief in your own worth. This is where many people falter. They want the rewards of their potential without the work. They want to be successful, fulfilled, and accomplished, but they're unwilling to put in the hours, to make the sacrifices, to endure the discomfort that growth demands. This is why so many people live lives of quiet dissatisfaction, knowing deep down that they are capable of more, but unwilling to do what it takes to make it happen. When you feel the anger at wasted potential, you begin to see that the only way to honor your potential is to put in the work. It's not enough to simply want it, you have to earn it. You have to be willing to push yourself, to face your fears, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to commit to the journey, no matter how difficult it may be. This anger becomes a powerful source of accountability. It holds you to a higher standard, reminding you that you are not here to merely exist, to go through the motions, or to settle for a life of mediocrity. You are here to make an impact, to leave a legacy, to live a life that is truly worthy of your potential. And that requires effort. It requires a willingness to face challenges head on, to embrace failure as a stepping stone to success, and to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. This anger pushes you to take responsibility for your life, to stop blaming external circumstances, and to recognize that you are in control of your own destiny. It's a call to action, a reminder that you have the power to shape your future, and that the only way to honor your potential is to take ownership of your life. When you feel this anger, you start to see the truth about your excuses. You realize that the reasons you've been giving yourself for not pursuing your dreams are just that, excuses. They're convenient stories you tell yourself to avoid facing the discomfort of growth. But when you're angry enough, you stop accepting these excuses. You stop allowing yourself to be held back by fear, doubt, or insecurity. Instead, you confront these feelings head on, acknowledging them but refusing to let them control you. This anger becomes a source of courage, giving you the strength to push through your limitations and to pursue your dreams with unwavering determination. It reminds you that you are capable of more than you realize, and that the only thing standing between you and your potential is your willingness to take action. The anger at wasted potential is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that time is precious, that life is short, and that you cannot afford to waste another moment living below your potential. This anger demands that you take your life seriously, that you treat your time, your energy, and your talents as valuable resources that deserve to be used wisely. It calls on you to be intentional about your actions, to make choices that align with your goals, and to refuse to settle for anything less than what you know you're capable of. This anger is a reminder that you have one life, one chance to make an impact, and that you owe it to yourself to make the most of it. This anger at wasted potential is not about comparing yourself to others or measuring your success by external standards. It's about measuring yourself against your own potential, about striving to become the best version of yourself, regardless of what anyone else is doing. It's about setting your own goals, defining your own path, and committing to the journey of self-discovery and growth. When you feel this anger, you stop looking outward for validation or approval, and instead you focus inward, holding yourself accountable to your own standards. You become your own motivator, your own source of inspiration, and your own measure of success. In the end, this anger is a gift. It's a powerful reminder of what you're capable of, a force that drives you to rise above complacency, and a call to live a life that is truly worthy of your potential. It's a reminder that you are not here to settle, to make excuses, or to let fear hold you back. You are here to make a difference, to pursue greatness, and to fulfill the unique purpose that only you can fulfill. When you allow yourself to feel this anger, to embrace it fully and to let it fuel your actions, you unlock a level of motivation and determination that is unstoppable. You become relentless in your pursuit of excellence, committed to the journey of growth, and driven by a deep desire to honor your potential. This anger is not a burden, it's a blessing. A reminder that you are capable of greatness and that the only thing standing between you and your potential is your willingness to take action. There is a kind of anger that is transformative, that doesn't merely burn but ignites something deep within us, a refusal to settle for anything less than what we know we are capable of achieving. This anger is not about lashing out or harboring resentment, it's about demanding more from ourselves and from the life we are meant to live. It's a fierce, unyielding force that drives us to reach higher, to strive for greatness, and to push past any barriers that would hold us back. This anger doesn't tolerate complacency, nor does it allow us to become comfortable with mediocrity. Instead, it is a call to action, a reminder that we are meant for more, and that we owe it to ourselves to rise to the occasion, no matter how difficult the journey may be. To demand more from life is to look around and recognize the areas in which we have settled, the places where we have allowed ourselves to accept good enough when we know we could do better. It's an uncomfortable realization because it forces us to confront the ways in which we have compromised our own potential, whether out of fear, convenience, or reluctance to step out of our comfort zones. But this anger is a wake-up call, an invitation to challenge the limitations we have placed upon ourselves. It's a reminder that we are not here to merely exist or to live within the confines of others' expectations. We are here to make a mark, to contribute something meaningful, and to realize the full extent of our own capabilities. And the first step in that journey is to demand more, to refuse to accept anything less than the best we can offer. When you demand more from life, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to recognize that the limits you once thought were unbreakable are, in fact, only barriers in your mind. This anger drives you to push past those mental blocks, to test the boundaries of what you thought was possible, and to go beyond what you previously believed you were capable of achieving. It compels you to dig deep, to tap into reserves of strength and determination you may not have known you possessed. This anger doesn't allow you to shrink back in the face of challenges. It propels you forward, pushing you to strive for something greater, something that truly reflects the depth of your potential. Demanding more means refusing to be satisfied with the status quo. It means questioning the assumptions and beliefs that have held you back and daring to believe that you are capable of so much more than what your current circumstances suggest. This kind of anger is a fire that burns away excuses, that strips away the layers of doubt and hesitation that prevent us from going after what we truly want. It's an anger that insists on progress, that demands growth, and that doesn't settle for anything less than full commitment to the pursuit of our dreams. When you allow yourself to feel this anger, you stop tolerating mediocrity in any form. You begin to hold yourself to a higher standard, to expect excellence from yourself, and to pursue your goals with relentless determination. This anger is not about frustration with others, it's about frustration with ourselves. It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our lives, to create the future we desire, but that we have been holding ourselves back. When you demand more from life, you stop looking for excuses or blaming external factors. Instead, you take full responsibility for your own success, for your own happiness, and for your own fulfillment. This anger drives you to take ownership of your choices, to stop waiting for permission or validation, and to start taking action toward the life you want to live. It's a shift from passivity to proactivity, from waiting for things to change to becoming the catalyst for that change. There is a fierce independence that comes with this kind of anger. It's a refusal to be defined by others' expectations or limitations, a determination to carve out your own path and to pursue your own vision of success. When you demand more from life, you stop allowing others to dictate what is possible for you. Instead, you set your own standards, your own goals, and your own vision for what you want to achieve. This anger fuels your resolve, making you immune to the opinions and judgments of others and empowering you to pursue your dreams with unwavering focus and commitment. It's a liberation from the constraints of others' beliefs, a freedom to define success on your own terms, and a determination to live a life that is truly aligned with your own values and aspirations. When you are angry enough to demand more, you also become relentless in your pursuit of improvement. You stop being satisfied with where you are and start constantly seeking ways to grow, to learn, and to evolve. This anger drives you to push beyond your comfort zones, to take risks, and to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. It becomes a force that propels you forward, that keeps you moving even when the road is difficult, and that fuels your resilience in the face of setbacks. When you are driven by this kind of anger, you are willing to put in the hard work, to make the sacrifices, and to endure the hardships necessary to achieve your goals. You become unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with, because you are no longer willing to settle for anything less than your full potential. This anger is a commitment to excellence, a pledge to yourself that you will not accept anything less than your best effort. It's a promise to rise above mediocrity, to refuse to be limited by fear or doubt, and to pursue your dreams with everything you have. When you demand more from life, you stop making compromises with yourself. You stop allowing yourself to settle for less than what you know you're capable of, and you begin to hold yourself accountable to a higher standard. This anger at anything less than your best self becomes a fuel that keeps you going, even when the journey gets difficult. It's a reminder that the challenges you face are not roadblocks, but stepping stones, opportunities to grow and to prove your own resilience. When you are driven by this anger, you become willing to embrace failure as part of the process, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep pushing forward no matter what. You become relentless, resilient, and unbreakable because you are no longer willing to settle for anything less than your full potential. This anger becomes a source of strength, a force that propels you forward, and a reminder that you are capable of achieving greatness. Demanding more from life is not a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. It's a choice to show up every day, to give your best effort, and to refuse to settle for anything less than what you know you can achieve. This anger becomes a constant reminder of what you are capable of, a driving force that keeps you focused on your goals, and a call to action that pushes you to keep moving forward. It's a reminder that success is not something that happens overnight, but is the result of consistent effort, dedication, and a refusal to settle. When you are driven by this kind of anger, you become unstoppable because you are no longer willing to let anything stand in the way of your dreams. This anger is a gift, a powerful force that reminds you of your own worth, of your own potential, and of your own ability to create the life you desire. It's a call to rise above mediocrity, to demand excellence from yourself, and to pursue your dreams with everything you have. This anger is not a burden, it's a blessing, a reminder that you are capable of greatness, and that the only thing standing between you and your potential is your willingness to take action. When you are angry enough to demand more from life, you unlock a level of motivation and determination that is unstoppable. You become relentless in your pursuit of excellence, committed to the journey of growth, and driven by a deep desire to honor your potential. This anger is a reminder that you are not here to settle, to make excuses, or to let fear hold you back. You are here to make a difference, to pursue greatness, and to fulfill the unique purpose that only you can fulfill. There is a power in finishing what you start, a strength that comes from seeing a journey through to its end, no matter how hard, how tiring, or how relentless it might feel along the way. Finishing requires an inner drive, a fire that can't be dimmed by obstacles, setbacks, or fatigue. When we begin a new pursuit, it's often excitement that propels us forward. We're filled with energy, purpose, and a sense of ambition. But that initial burst fades over time, and the path becomes steeper, sometimes unbearably so. Many lose heart along the way. They stop before they've seen the fruits of their labor, surrendering their efforts when it counts the most. And that is where this special anger comes in, a fierce determination that refuses to allow us to leave anything unfinished. It's an anger at the thought of stopping short of what could be, a refusal to let effort be wasted, and a commitment to complete what has been started, regardless of how difficult it becomes. This anger is not about frustration with the challenges you encounter. It's a frustration with the idea of quitting. It's an anger directed at the thought of leaving potential unrealized, of not seeing the task through to its ultimate outcome. It's a deep, persistent energy that keeps you moving forward when the journey no longer feels new or exciting, when the road becomes rough and uncertain, and when doubts begin to arise. To be angry enough to finish is to develop a relentless mindset, one that doesn't entertain the thought of stopping. This anger keeps you moving forward, even when the finish line is nowhere in sight. It's the energy that gets you out of bed in the morning, that pushes you to keep working long after others have given up, and that refuses to let you leave your dreams incomplete. The journey to finishing is often one of persistence, marked by unexpected turns, delays, and difficulties. But if you are driven by this deep-rooted anger, you won't allow yourself to be derailed. When challenges come, and they always do, you won't be thrown off course, because your anger will fuel your resilience. It will remind you why you started in the first place and push you to focus on your end goal. It will help you turn challenges into stepping stones, to see obstacles as temporary setbacks rather than insurmountable barriers. This anger, when used correctly, becomes a powerful ally, a force that sustains you and keeps you focused, even when you are tempted to slow down, to turn back, or to let your dreams drift away. The world is filled with people who begin things with great enthusiasm, only to stop when the path gets tough, when the results don't come quickly, or when the initial excitement wears off. But you can't afford to be one of those people. You have to harness a level of commitment that goes beyond excitement and beyond motivation. You have to tap into a level of anger that fuels your determination to finish, no matter how difficult the road becomes. This anger is not a negative emotion. It's a powerful force that drives you to honor your commitment to yourself. It reminds you that starting is easy, but finishing requires character, resilience, and strength. It's an anger that holds you accountable to your own potential, a reminder that if you stop now, you will have wasted all the effort you've put in so far. It's a frustration with the idea of leaving anything half done, of walking away from something that could have been, simply because the journey became too hard. To finish requires a different level of focus. When you are angry enough to finish, you stop allowing distractions to pull you off course. You stop letting temporary setbacks steal your momentum. And you learn to maintain your energy and commitment, even in the face of discouragement. This anger helps you develop a laser-sharp focus on your goal, a determination that won't be swayed by momentary frustrations or temporary failures. It becomes a guiding force, helping you to push through each day with consistency, with purpose, and with an unyielding commitment to see your goal realized. This anger becomes a source of strength, a reminder that you are capable of so much more than you might believe, and a call to tap into the reserves of potential that lie within you. When you are angry enough to finish, you stop tolerating excuses, both from yourself and from others. You stop giving yourself permission to settle for halfway, to rationalize stopping short, or to justify letting your dreams fall by the wayside. Instead, you hold yourself accountable to the highest standard. You remind yourself that you have chosen this path for a reason, and that you owe it to yourself to see it through to the end. This anger doesn't allow you to make compromises with yourself. It pushes you to uphold a level of discipline and consistency that others might find extreme, but that you know is necessary if you are to achieve your goal. It's a frustration with the idea of stopping, a refusal to let anything deter you from the path you've chosen, and a fierce commitment to honor the journey you've undertaken. There's a satisfaction that comes only from finishing. It's a sense of accomplishment that goes beyond the ordinary, a feeling of pride that comes from knowing you have overcome every obstacle, conquered every setback, and reached the end of the road you set out on. This satisfaction is reserved only for those who are willing to endure, to persist, and to keep pushing, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. When you are angry enough to finish, you are driven by the knowledge that this satisfaction is worth every moment of effort, every sleepless night, and every struggle along the way. This anger is what keeps you going when the journey feels endless, when the results are slow to come, and when the rewards seem far off. It's a reminder that the final outcome is worth every ounce of effort, that the journey itself is shaping you, and that the destination is closer than you might think. To be angry enough to finish is to have a deep respect for your own potential. It's a refusal to settle for a life of unfulfilled dreams and abandoned goals. It's an understanding that you are capable of so much more than you might realize, and that the only way to honor that potential is to push yourself to the finish line. This anger keeps you moving forward even when the journey feels endless, because it reminds you that every step you take brings you closer to the life you envision for yourself. It's a force that won't allow you to settle for anything less than your best, that drives you to pursue your dreams with relentless determination, and that pushes you to finish what you started, no matter how difficult the journey may become. This anger becomes a shield, protecting you from the doubts and fears that would otherwise hold you back. It becomes a source of inner strength, a reminder that you are capable of overcoming anything, and a force that keeps you focused on the end goal no matter what obstacles arise along the way. When you are angry enough to finish, you stop allowing anything to distract you from your purpose. You become immune to the opinions of others, indifferent to the doubts that might have once held you back, and fully committed to the journey you have chosen. This anger becomes a source of clarity, helping you to see past the temporary challenges and to stay focused on the ultimate goal. Finishing is not just about achieving a goal, it's about developing a mindset that refuses to quit, that refuses to give up, and that refuses to let anything stand in the way of what you know you're capable of achieving. This anger helps you cultivate a sense of inner resilience, a strength that is unshakable, and a commitment to your own growth and success. It's a reminder that you are capable of so much more than you might believe, and that the only thing standing between you and your dreams is your willingness to keep going, no matter how tough the journey becomes. When you are driven by this kind of anger, you become unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with, because you have made a commitment to finish, to see your dreams realized, and to fulfill the potential that lies within you. To be angry enough to finish is to be driven by a sense of purpose that goes beyond the ordinary. It's a commitment to your own growth, a refusal to let fear or doubt hold you back, and a determination to honor the journey you have chosen. This anger is not about frustration with the challenges you face. It's a frustration with the idea of leaving anything unfinished, a refusal to let your efforts go to waste, and a commitment to seeing your goals through to the end. This anger drives you to keep pushing, to keep moving forward, and to keep striving, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. This anger becomes a source of motivation, a reminder that you are capable of greatness, and a call to keep moving forward until you reach the finish line. When you are angry enough to finish, you stop making excuses, you stop looking for reasons to quit, and you start finding reasons to keep going. You become relentless in your pursuit of success, committed to the journey, and driven by a deep desire to see your dreams realized. This anger becomes a source of strength, a reminder that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to, and a force that propels you forward even when the journey feels impossible. It's a reminder that the final outcome is worth every moment of effort, every sleepless night, and every struggle along the way.